Greetings and salutations of peace. I am your brother, the Rastafari, Ital Iman I. Our subject this date, day before the election, the presidential elections in the United States of America, November 5, 2012, is the Dresden Codex number 74, or the last page of the Dresden Codex. We will explain and break it down to you from our point of view. But first, let us view how the ancient Egyptians view the crocodilian, or the reptile crocodile. The strength and speed of the crocodile was thought to be symbolic of the power of the pharaoh, and the word sovereign was written with the hieroglyph of a crocodile. It was thought that Sobek could protect the pharaoh from dark magic. During the 12th and the 13th dynasty, the cult of Sobek was given particular prominence, and a number of rulers incorporated him in their coronation names. He was depicted as a crocodile, a mummified crocodile, or a man with the head of a crocodile. He often wore a plumed headdress with a horned sun disk or an Atif crown, associating him with Amun-Ra, and carried a wasp scepter representing power, and an ankh representing the breath of life. Mummified crocodiles representing the god have been found in many ancient tombs. The Egyptians mummified both infant and mature crocodiles, and even interred crocodile eggs and fetuses with the deceased in order to enlist the protection of Sobek in the afterlife. So we will see by an observation of the Dresden Codex number, or page 74 thereof, the crocodilian with sky-band body is a symbol of Amun-Ra, or God ending the 13th Baktun of time. Let us count the 13 ways of the watery tongue flowing from the mouth of Sobek. In the Dresden Codex, a document of astronomical being, visionary or prophetic phenomena, consists of a few characters. The Maya creator goddess Shak El, and the dark or dark painted god El. The main character is the god El. We have the morning star Venus also depicted on the 74th page of the Dresden Codex. We who have studied the Maya codices know that the morning star Venus represents the god Quetzalcoatl, the plum serpent. On the last page of Dresden Codex, page 74, we have explained, as explained by the major researchers, and it's their consensus, the crocodilian with sky band. The sky band consists of 4 solar and lunar eclipse glyphs emitting rain. Also, there is rain pouring forth from the crocodile mouth. The researchers call this a crocodile, but it's really an alligator, which is distinctive by the short snout with its more rounded, like the Negroid noses of the Olmec heads, and it is indigenous to Central and North America, the alligator. The crocodile has a longer snout and his nose is not rounded like the alligator. So we also have what the major researchers call the Maya creator goddess Shaktiel in bestial destructive aspect, overturning a vessel of water. We must note that this vessel of water is being poured upon the head of the black god El, but it is blocked by what the major researchers see or say is an owl. But one can plainly see an eagle or buzzard here. We know that the buzzard is the sacred bird which clears the land of the dead carcasses. God El is known as the black deity. Some say it is a painted deity, and some just call it a black deity. And if we look at the black deity in the current time frame, as the Codex is a vision of the future, and if we see what is called an owl as the eagle, as it plainly and clearly is in the context of the current world view, Barack Obama is the only ruler who bears the symbol of the eagle as his power, and he would be considered a black god in ancient time frame. Could Shaktiel and the water vessel be a sign of Aquarius, which comes at the end of the age? The sky band of the crocodile belly indicated by its four frames that we are viewing a moving time frame, like the frames of a moving picture. The first frame to our left is clearly what we have come to know by studying the Maya lore and number system. Is Venus, the four-pointed cross with four dots. The second frame of time upon the croc's belly is the slanted cross, which is actually a superimposed eight-pointed cross. From frame to frame, from the four-pointed cross to the eight-pointed cross indicates movement. Now, the third frame, some say or see as a 12-pointed clock. But we must notice that from the sun notation or dot in the center, there's a thin four-pointed cross. Note there are 12 markings in this frame, frame 3, and the center sun dot or spot makes 13. Think about it. One researcher points out the number he says he sees the four thin points of the cross touching as being, he says he sees a clock with 12 hour marks on it. Its hands are on the 11, 2, 5, and 8. So if you take 11 plus 2, that equals 13, he says. That's one baktun of time. And 5 plus 8 again is 13, or one baktun of time. This indicates the last two baktuns are finished. What I see is this. What By Ital Iman I see is this. Not saying what he sees is wrong. I'm just showing you another viewpoint. Okay, if you look, if you lay a clock with not a digital one, but one with the regular hands and the regular numbers, if you lay a clock over the marking, you will get 11, 1, 7, and 5. That equals 15, and 5 plus 1 equals 6, meaning the 6,000 year rule or period of time is up. Thus time for the purification by flood, as the crocodile indicates. Now, let's look a little closer at frame 3 on the belly of the croc. Note that the Maya number system is made up of symbols of dots and lines, or slashes, or dots and or an extended dots, which represents movement. You have a dot and you extend it, that represents movement. So that's where the line come in at, and time, creation, etc. And even a deeper level, it means time. It's a mechanism for time travel. So knowing the number system, i.e. how to read the numbers of the ancient Maya system, we can plainly see there are 4 sets of 2 bars or slashes or lines representing 12 o'clock. Now you got those, you got those 2 lines at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. Those are those 2 lines. Okay, if we are to view this frame as a phase of a clock, which I believe is a correct way to view it, the 2 bars in the Maya number system represents the number 10. So we say, since there's 4 of those bars, we say 4 times 10, because 2 bars equals 10. 1 bar is 5. So you place another bar on top of that, that's 10. So if there are 4 of those bars, those 2 sets of bars, so we say 4 times 10 is 40. So what we have left in the frame is the 4 dots, which are the touching points of the thin 4-pointed cross. Note that in the Maya number system, the dot is the number 1, or the starting point of the movement or journey. So the face of the clock reveals the number 44 to us. What is significant about the number 44 is that Barack Obama is the 44th president of the United States of America, by God. Also, 4 plus 4 equals 8, the 8-pointed cross, which is symbol of the end of the cycle or age. It's also the symbol of Nibiru. It's also a symbol of Christ's return, etc. It's also the symbol of the Buddha, the Eightfold Path, and all this kind of thing. So there's a lot more in this, but my revelation is fundamental. I'm just letting you know that. But yet it's important. Note that if we multiply points to where the 4-pointed cross touch, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. Okay, we say 12 times 6 times 9 times 3, we get 1944. We get the number 1944, or the year 1944, which I'm sure is a code. Okay, we can clearly see the last 2 numbers to be 44, as in Obama, 44th president. We know that the code of life, as written in the Holy Quran, is 19, and it states that, and what will let you know what hell is, and it says, and over it are 19 wardens of the fire. Note that this is the last page or book of Maya Codex, called Dresdon, which is in 74 parts. 74 being the last book. Now, in light of what we have just revealed, we're going to go to our sounding board, I call it, for proof. Because I know some of you out there thinking that Ital is really off now. He thinks he's getting deep and he's going off into the deep end. So, I measure everything I do by the Holy Quran. Some people consult the bones, the Torah, the tea leaves. I consult the Holy Quran. To each his own, right? Okay, so let's go to the Holy Quran here briefly. Bear with me. To Surah chapter 74. The one wrapping himself up. Then we'll get a basic or clearer understanding. Okay, I'm going to read a few verses of it to let you see. I got to go to it. So picking up the Quran, Surah 74. I got to find Surah 74. I should have had all this ready, but 74, Surah 74. Holy Quran, one wrapping himself up. Okay, it starts out like this. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alright. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, O thou covering thyself up, rise to pray by night, except a little. Except a little half of it, he says, or lessen it a little, or add to it, and recite the Quran in a leisurely manner. So he says, rise up early in the morning. Surely we shall charge thee with a weighty word. The rising by night is surely the firmest way to tread and most effective in speech. Truly thou hast by day prolonged occupations, and remember the name of thy Lord, and devote thyself to him with complete devotion. But the punch line of this surah, chapter 74, is verse 30. But it starts off at verse 27. And remember, the number 27 is very important in this, i.e. in my work, or shall I say our work. I ask you to get a Quran and read chapter 74, which relates to the last page of Dresden Codex. Okay, here we go. Let's go to verse 27. Verse 27, Holy Quran. It starts off. The focal point is verse 30, but we're gonna start. You know, you gotta excuse me because I actually read Surah 73, but let me start over here, and I'm gonna read Surah 74 in the beginning. You really get a better understanding of it. Surah 74, the one wrapping himself up. 73 was the one covering himself up. Excuse me, so I kind of got confused on that. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. O thou who wrappeth thyself up, arise and warn, and thy Lord do magnify, and thy garments do purify, and uncleanness do shun, and do not favor seeking gain. And for the sake of thy Lord be patient, for when the trumpet is sounded, that will be that day a difficult day. So let's go over to Surah 27. It's to verse 27 of Surah 74. And it says, and what will make thee realize what hell is? It leaves naught and spares naught. It scorches the mortal. And verse 30 is the punchline. So over it are 19. And we made, and 31 says, and we made none but angels warden of the fire, and we have not made their number but as a trial for those who believe, that those who have been given the book may be certain, and those who believe may increase in faith. And it goes on and on, but I just want you to know that we're talking about 1944. So you'll understand, just bear with me. Say, but the punchline, as I've told you, was verse 30, and it says, and it starts at 27, and the number 27 is the most important. Okay, so this relates to the last page of the Dresden Codex. The Dresden Codex. So check this. Verse 30 was the punchline. Over it are 19. So we see the date or number 1944. The 44 means the 44th president, and the 19 being the time before the 44th president, which is a sign or code of hell. And with the 44th president, there comes a change, which means he's in office or power at the change or end of the old age and the beginning of the new. Verse 31 is also very important here. It must be read now to the final frame. Now we're gonna check it out. You just read the whole thing, but we're gonna move to the final frame of the crocodile's belly, sky frame 4. We can see a black woman wearing an afro. You go look at the final frame, frame 4, in the belly of the crocodile. This black woman is wearing an afro. It's real clear. Hairstyle like in the 60s. and the 70s. This art, look at it real clear, because it is actually Maya art. Okay. It's a black woman wearing an afro hairstyle like in the 60s and 70s. This artwork reminds us of our soul sister, Michelle Obama. Also look close at the frame and you will see a radio broadcast tower to the right of the face, which is symbol of the master blaster jamming. Now hold with me now. Notice that Stevie Wonder and Michelle Obama are very close. Just a few days ago, she was here in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Prime Osborne Convention Center, campaigning for her husband's 4 more years. Accompanying her in this effort was none other than the fat man himself, Mr. Stevie Wonder. So, we can plainly see that from Dresden Codex, there was a prediction of a flood at the end of the Old Age, just like it was in the time of Noah, etc., or the Exodus of Moses. And the so-called New Age devils have their puppets, Red Maya, speaking, saying, nothing will happen, nothing will happen. They go so far as to say, there's nothing. The Maya says that the New Age will come in with the destruction of the old world. They say that Maya ain't said nothing. My point is that the Red Maya did not write the message. So they are just as much in the dark as the white researchers who are trying to figure all this stuff out. You got black faces on everything they find, and they try to keep the black man away from his own wisdom and knowledge. So, you say this is speculation I'm talking? It's just as much a theorem, a thesis than the white boys. Okay? It's very insane. These people try to cover up truth, and they say this is Greek and this is this, but it's not black. They can plainly see the Olmec faces are black. Okay. You will find the problem of America, and the reason for her downfall simply by turning on AM radio. You can find the problem out simply by turning on AM radio, talk radio, and recalling all you've heard from the talking heads leading up to the presidential election of 2012. America is still very racist and biased against black people. It's a fact. So things must change. Just as was the time of Moses' exodus from Egypt in the Bible story, so are we now, also enslaved still. And Lord forbid if Romney wins. You know what the Mormon church is all about. So it has to be a flood, as was in the time of Noah, to change this scenario. Okay, look at Sandy, Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy. How can you close your eyes to the truth? Okay, one more note on the date or the number 1944, which is 18. We know that to be 666. Okay, let us look at the year 1945, just a year after 1944. What do we see? The atomic bomb exploding over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 1945 is, i.e., 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 5 equals 19. So that was hell when they blew up the bombs, you see. Okay, who do we see? Now, who do we see in the White House at that time? We see Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He was born in 1882 and he dies in 1945. He was in the White House from 1933 to 1945, the year of the explosion. Bear with me now. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1945, atomic bomb. 32nd President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, 1882, 1945. President 1933 to 1945. He spent 12 years in the seat. That's 3 terms. Now, Let's look at the number 19 of the year, or number 1944. We see the 19th President of the United States, Rutherford B. Hayes, who did 4 years from 1877 to 1881. He is key, which ties the 19th President to the 44th President from the Code 1944 of Dresden Codex. The year 1881, in the last term of Hayes, marks the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is the year the sun starts leaving out of the house of Pisces, the 12th sign of the zodiac, and starts moving into the house of the water bearer Aquarius on its 131-year journey to the year 2012 and the 44th President of these United States of America. This is the message of Scroll 74 of Dresden Codex, message of Olmec Maya. The black gods ruled in the beginning, the black gods return at the end, etc. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time we call the Holy Master Blaster.